back to the channel, guys. So now I'm starting a new little project on building houses for scenery. So the first ones today are going to be sort of your budget level. I've had pretty good success doing this style of house building, and it uses materials, the expanded polystyrene, which everyone can get pretty well for free. We're going to use paper, which again you can pretty well get for free. You need some glue and some paints, but that's pretty well it. And you can get a whole town on the table in a matter of hours very easily. So as you can see, you just get your polystyrene, use your figurines, whatever scale you're using as your reference, and cut accordingly. So the smaller ones there are 6mm Napoleonics, and the slightly larger one is 15mm World War II. So I'm trying to go for happy medium. Obviously, if you've only got one scale of troops, then you can be very specific to the size of scenery that you're going for. But because I've got several, I tried to go happy medium. Once you cut your blocks out, if you've got a foam cutter, it's going to make life a lot easier, and you're going to have nice square edges. I don't, so I had to use the knife, and then you end up with a bit more of a rough edge. However, that's not necessarily a problem, because when we do the painting later, the paint will go into the sort of little indentations on the polystyrene and kind of look like a rough sort of stone texture. So you can use that to your advantage. Again, now we're using the paper. This is, I think, slightly thicker paper than your standard. I think it might be 250 GSM, but any paper would do. You could always double it up if you're concerned. And I'm just cutting out the paper for the roof. In a couple of weeks' time, I will release a quick video where I've built a village, basically. A village for a war game that we're going to be playing of part of Waterloo, and it's Plassinois. And so I'm going to go through the process of how I designed it, got the information, and put it all together. But the tips and techniques that are used in that video come from this one and several of my previous videos. So although my camera wasn't working when I was recording it, so I've got some still photos, but yeah, something to look forward to. Now I use the hot glue to stick the paper on, the roofs on. Got to be careful because the hot glue will melt the polystyrene, so yeah, just be warned. The music today is called Room to Dream, from a local artist called Carlioso. I've met Carl a few times in Waipu. Really nice guy. His music is really good. So if you want to help support him, the link is in the description. What you will find doing this method is that the eaves? The ends anyway, I'm not sure if they're the eaves or not, but underneath the ridge line you will have a bit of a gap, as you can see there. So I just pumped in a load of glue to fill that up. If you are being a bit more careful, or you want to spend a bit more time on it, you could easily cut some more of your card or paper and then just enclose that. I guess theoretically, if you could find a brick pattern, you could print off you could print off a sheet of brick pattern, then you could wrap the whole building, or at least the walls, in that, and then you'd have a stone building. Maybe something to do in the future for a video. But again, I'm just doing these quick and easy, something that anyone could do, especially when you've got friends who are like, I'd like to get into the hobby, but it all just costs too much, especially the scenery. Show them this video, and quite literally, it doesn't cost too much at all. You're using quite literally rubbish, which everyone has, and you can basically make whatever you need. So what I've done here, again, it is polystyrene, so if you were to hit it with spray paint, it's going to melt. Plus it is quite flaky, as you know. If you run your finger over the edge of polystyrene, it'll just break up. So I've just coated everything, including the roof, with Mod Podge. And I've done that for the roofs just to, again, give them a little bit more support when it dries out. So it's quite fun when you're actually doing these projects. By the end, I realised that what I could have done was get a soldering iron and just melt out the doors and windows into the polystyrene. So I might do that again in the future as well. So here we're starting on the roofs. Again, just really basic, trying to get them done quickly. So I've got some grey paint and just painted onto the roof, trying to leave that sort of textured brushing just so it implies it's tiles. Again, you could do the orange for the pan tiles if you're doing a sort of more Mediterranean-y style of wargame table. Once the roof is all dry, then it's time to hit it with a black wash. I think I added a bit of brown to my wash as well, but yeah, just hit the whole thing. You can see there the paint going into the recesses. It just gives you that kind of stony effect. Hit the roof, walls, do the whole thing, and then leave them to dry. So now I just painted on the doors, but as I said earlier, if I'd thought about it, I'd probably have used the soldering iron and just melted the doors and windows into it. But we're just going for ease and practicality, something that anyone can do, whether they've got specialist tools or not. So yeah, just paint on some doors, some windows, and off you go. After I painted, I started off just with black for the doors and the windows, and then once that had dried, I went back with dark brown over all of the doors and the windows. I made like a T-shape for timbers, although I didn't realise the camera wasn't recording for that, so there's no footage of the brown. But again, depending on where your houses or buildings are located, you could paint those in brown, green, red, whatever floats your boat, whatever you want them to stand out. I was just going for generic, basically. So this one I was doing up more as a barn, so I more went for the sort of arrow slit type windows. And again, yeah, this end where it was a bit rough with the knife isn't so smooth, but I'm not really bothered. It's scenery, it looks okay. It's quick, it's easy, it's cheap. And then once you've got your houses, they're no things of beauty, but quick, cheap, easy. I'm going to show how I put these bases together in a couple of videos down, but overall I think they've gone together very nicely, and you end up with some very usable but very cheap terrain. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, take something away from it, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Take care.